Joining us now from Doha is Middle East affairs analyst Luciano Zaccara. Good to have you back with us, Luciano. Israel says this is an administrative land registration process. Critics call it de facto annexation. From an international law perspective, which interpretation carries more weight and why?
I think it's clear, it was already mentioned by one of the interviewees, this is against the international law regarding what are the obligations and rights of the occupying power in an occupied land. Sorry. So what Israel is doing again is disobeying any kind of international rule about the roles that they have to pursue or they have to abide with in their military occupation of a land since 1967. And the fact is that they have stopped the registrations for 40 years or something like that. So now they restarted something out of the blue without anything that justify this move. The only thing that justified this move is a political decision to annex the land, something that it's been on the move since several months ago, pushed by the extreme right part of the government, but without being rejected by Netanyahu himself. So in this case, we are going to see to what extent Trump, that has been very adamant of rejecting the annexation of the West Bank, if the United States will make something to stop this move by Netanyahu, claiming that this is against the international law, against any kind of agreement that the United States had with Israel and so far.
And what is your feeling about that? Do you think the Trump administration will intervene in this?
Well, so far I haven't heard anything, and this is something that is giving me the idea that maybe this was something already accepted or negotiated by Trump in exchange of something, in exchange of maybe preventing Israel from attacking Iran or something like that. We don't know what are the things that Netanyahu and Trump discussed last week in the last meeting they had. I don't think they were only discussing about Iran. They were also discussing about future plans, the port of peace, and many aspects of what they're going to do in Gaza. So maybe this is part of the negotiation. This is why the government issued this plan now, because there is something that has been discussed with Trump regarding the further steps taken in West Bank. But this is something that shouldn't surprise us, considering that this has been on the plan since at least 1 year or 1.5 years since the war started. Plans of annexation has been there on the table, pushed by the extreme right, but as I said before, never rejected by Netanyahu's government. So I don't think we will have any step backwards taken by the government unilaterally, unless there is a strong pressure from Trump and the international community. But we already know that the international community doesn't make any point in Netanyahu's decision. It's only Trump administration who can pressure Netanyahu to stop this.
Among the countries that have condemned the decision so far are Jordan, Egypt, Qatar and Turkey. What are the likely regional consequences that this condemnation could have on Israel's existing diplomatic arrangements?
Based on the evidence of the last 2 years of war, I think practically no impact. Anything that the neighbors in the region have been saying to Israel did not modify any behavior, any action taken by the Israeli government. Only the international pressure, mainly coming from the West, mainly coming from European countries, but mainly by the United States, made some changes in the behavior. This is how it was accepted, this ceasefire, which is not actually a ceasefire, but at least this is something that was achieved through international pressure. Unfortunately, Netanyahu demonstrated that his disregard for the international law and any resolution that has been taken by the United Nations Security Council or the International Court of Justice is totally meaningless for the Israeli government. It's not applicable. It's not applicable to the Israeli government. So I don't expect that the pressure or statements by governments around Israel will make any change, unfortunately.
We know since Israel waged its war on Gaza, there have been growing calls, even among Israel's allies, for a viable Palestinian state. But does this proposal by Israel effectively close the door on a two-state solution, or is there still room for political reversal depending on international pressure?
Yesterday, I was hearing some activists, Israeli activists, that they are saying that still there is hope, but the hope is, little and little, becoming little and little every day. I think that the two-state solution has been paralyzed since a long time ago. The first declarations that Netanyahu made when the war started made clear that there is no interest in the main political forces in Israel to push for this two-state solution. He literally said that it will never be a Palestinian state. The only thing he's doing is to make it in paper, applying the Israeli law to make sure that the sovereignty is extended to the occupied territories, so there will be no chance to claim that there is any piece of land that could be declared a Palestinian state. So this is another step moving forward to this declaration of or unification of all the territory of Palestine under the Israeli sovereignty. And I think the two-state solution, unless there is a quick reaction from the United Nations Security Council, including the US, this will end on something that we already know or have been knowing since the war started, that the final goal of the Israeli government is occupy the whole West Bank, and eventually, why not, if the peace plan, the brilliant peace plan of Trump is not or is failing, occupy in the future Gaza as well. The problem is what we are going to do with all the Palestinian population that is still living in these two places.
Okay, Luciano Zaccara, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much again for joining us on the program.